Cory Heidelberger. I teach French at Spearfish High School, so I'm one who will be deeply affected by whatever you pass in HB 1234. I thought Bev asked a really good question about the accountability at post-passage. How will we make sure this bill, actually, the merit pay, the bonuses, actually do what they're intended to do, which is increase our academic achievement? Although, as Senator Rhoden said, we're apparently already in the top 5, so I don't know what the crisis is that's motivating this. But I want to ask about maybe accountability before we pass the bill. There's a lot of research out there that says what works in the classroom and really increases student achievement, and that's quality of teachers, mentorship, professional development activities, and I'll throw in a pitch, foreign language education, which South Dakota lags the nation in. We don't require it. Maybe that's the one thing we're missing. We just need to pay foreign language teachers $10,000 more. That's my pitch. We can talk about the evidence. Given the bill that's there, though, we've got merit pay suggested. There's evidence that says that merit pay, where it's been tried, produces inconclusive results at best, if not actually degrading the quality of the educational environment. So I'd like to know if, as this bill is moving through in your committees and in the House and such, do you have evidence that says this is why merit pay works and this is why this is the one big jewel we're picking to do instead of all the other possibilities? Or are we just kind of going, we can't just sit here, let's do something? What is the evidence that we're looking at here that says merit pay is the reform that we need to do to produce actual results?
Well, I'll start out as far as the merit pay because you and I had a little preliminary conversation. House Bill 1234, as it was introduced, was only included the merit pay. We had a Cracker Barrel 2 weeks ago in Sturgis, and we were visiting about that. I made comments that I had never favored and had opposed merit pay in the past, for the reason you stated. I agree with the intentions of merit pay. I've just never been able to comprehend how that money would be distributed fairly and receive the desired results. So we talked about that in Sturgis. It occurred to me, I was in the House, I was the House Majority Leader when Governor Rounds came up with the TCAP program, Teacher Compensation Assistance Program. The parameters for that program were practically non-existent. He had the money there, he says, we'll put $4 million, you come up with a model, and we'll approve it. And we had a whole spectrum of different programs that the school districts came up with. Some of them were effective, some not. But we had a 2-year-long experiment through that TCAP where some schools were pretty innovative and had some great models that proved to be effective. So I went back to Pierre, had our LRC staffer start working on an amendment, kind of a hybrid of TCAP. Had a conversation with the governor's office, or with a member of the governor's office, who liked the idea. I was kind of going forward with the concept of offering that amendment to replace merit pay. I don't, like I said, I don't object to the intents of merit pay, but through the course of that conversation, we talked about an opt-out, give them the option, take the merit pay, or come up with their own custom design program that was crafted by the school district, local control. I thought that was a fair compromise because I don't know what the final merit pay will look like. If they come up with some ingenious idea that I'm not aware of, go with God. But give the school districts the option to design their own program.
But doesn't that program then have to be approved by the Department of Education?
Just like TCAP. But I believe, and Tom could clear this up, the conversation we're having, I believe where they came to was they would have a couple of structures as far as pre-approved plans, if you will, and the school district could take that, or they could custom design their own program and then present it to the Department of Education for approval.
There was a lot of things that money was spent on a TCAP that didn't necessarily have to do with student achievement. There was a lot of teacher development, things like that. You could argue, yeah, it maybe you can't get out of here once you're in. You're going to listen. But what we wanted to do is tighten that language up so that everything was based off of student achievement. And I think TCAP, we keep using that because we don't have anything better to call it, but the conversation is, let's put those rules in place, and then we put the money in, instead of kind of throwing the money out there, and then come up with some rules to, come up with some innovative ways to spend it.
I wanted to check offhand the TCAP programs. We've got some that worked, some that didn't. Do you know offhand what some of the TCAP programs were that did work? And did they include any merit pay? Has anyone tried it?
Well, when that program came out, we had Jim Heinert was the superintendent at Sturgis. And I remember having initial conversations with him, and he was pretty excited about it because they'd worked on something similar in a former school district. And so he hit the ground running, and he had I couldn't give you any of the details as far as how that was structured, but I know my sister-in-law, my wife's twin sister, qualified for a stipend in that school district, where she took some professional training and some other things, and from what she viewed of it, of course she'd received some money, but she thought it was well structured, and there were any number of school districts that had people like Jim Heinert that were bright, intelligent people that knew what the needs of their school district were. That came up with some pretty great examples of an effective program. And so I think we have the ability now to kind of cherry pick, and of course those school districts were starting to feed off each other and developing their own programs based on what they witnessed in surrounding school districts that were effective.
Other questions?